Hello, and welcome back to Jazzonomics. I'm going to bring it a little more up to date now to a documentary that was on BBC4 many moons ago called 1959, the year that changed jazz. It looked at four pivotal albums from 1959 and their lasting legacy. The program isn't available on the iPlayer at the moment, but it is available on YouTube. It is a little bit grainy, but it's well worthy of watching, whether you have a cursory interest in jazz or whether you're steeped in the genre. The four albums that were featured in the programme, I'll show you three of those very quickly, and the fourth one I'll look at in a little more detail. The first one is Ornette Coleman, The Shape of Jazz to Come, Miles Davis and the Ubiquitous Kind of Blue, and Time Out by the Dave Brubeck Quartet. All great pieces of work. No comprehensive collection should be without them. The album that I'm going to focus on is by a performer who I don't listen to a great deal. He's idiosyncratic. He's a band leader, he's a bass player, he's a pianist, he's a composer. It's Charles Mingus, and the album is Mingus Are On. Again, released in 1959. It's a great piece of work. The opener, one of his finest pieces of music, Better Get It In Your Soul. Mingus leads an uproarious band. There are elements of church music, gospel, call and response. Mingus takes on the role of almost a charismatic preacher. There's all manner of whooping and a hollering. It's a thrilling piece of music that never lets up. The second piece of music on the album takes it down a step or two. It's called Goodbye Pork Pie Hat. It's nothing to do with the fella in Desmond's. Don't worry, I'm not going to do the accents. It's a tribute to the saxophonist Lester Young, who I believe died fairly close to the recording of this album. It's a lovely piece of music. I would describe it as Ellingtonian. There's an awful lot of Duke Ellington influences in this album, or on this album. They're probably the areas that I'm less keen on. When Mingus is playing the more full throttle, hard bop, straight ahead stuff, they're the tracks that I prefer. This version of Mingus Are On has three bonus tracks on it: Pedal Point Blues, GG Train and Girl of My Dreams. I possibly prefer those three bonus tracks to the main subtracks on the main body of the album. Well worth getting this version, but I did find this one in a charity shop relatively recently. It is on the Not Now Music Records, a budget label. I didn't realise that this had three albums on it when I bought it. It was I think it was 99 pence. It has Mingus Art on, just the main album. It doesn't have the bonus tracks, and on the second disc it has two albums that are well worth a listen, called The Clown and Pithecanthropus Erectus. I'm glad that I managed to say Pithecanthropus Erectus without falling over the teeth. I've been practicing that. The final track on The Clown has a narration over the top of it that doesn't quite work, but the rest of the album is pretty damn good. The opening track on Pithecanthropus Erectus has Jackie McLean on saxophone, another artist that you really need to check out. I'm going to quickly look at a few more Mingus albums and give you my opinions upon them. I've listened to this album quite a lot over the last few days. It is Charles Mingus, the Black Saint and the Sinner Lady. It's compelling, it's intense, it's orchestrated, but it's not wholly enjoyable. I can remember enjoying this album a lot more some time ago than I did the other day. I listened to it several times in the car, which may not be ideal. It's quite a bit removed from Roachford's Cuddly Toy, which, you know, if you've seen the Alan Partridge film, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's quite avant-garde in places. You should listen to it. You should listen to it. But like I say, it's not wholly enjoyable. You should listen to it. It's like thinking that you should go and visit an elderly relative in a care home, but really what you'd like to do is eat your dinner and fall asleep in front of some rubbish on the telly, because going to the care home might be slightly more painful. I'm going to look at another couple of albums very quickly. Mingus at Antibes, featuring Eric Dolphy and Booker Ervin. You need to check out Booker Ervin. He's a great tenor saxophonist. This is an excellent set. The only problem with it is the third track, called What Love, and the problem with that is it lasts for 14 minutes, and I can only describe it as self-indulgent pedestrian twaddle. It really does spoil the flow of the album. This album contains Wednesday night prayer meeting rather. It's along the same lines of Better Get Hit in Your Soul from Mingus Are The opening track on this album is also the opening track on the Mingus album that I may well recommend. It's probably the most accessible, the most swinging, the most bluesy, the most enjoyable, and I only have it on this Horace Parlan collection, and it is Mingus's Blues and Roots. It's got Horace Parlan on piano. I believe this has Booker Ervin again on tenor saxophone, and I think Booker Ervin actually plays on Happy Frame of Mind by Horace Parlan, which I was listening to today, and it's great. It's a great album. It's classic blue note, and that is probably my preferred area of jazz. That's probably enough for today. That's probably enough Charles Mingus for me for quite a little while. Thank you very much for watching. This was Jazzonomics.